Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we're reacting to Jordan versus LeBron, the best GOAT comparison by Danger Productions. Y'all recommended this down in the comments below. Thank you to those who are helping me on my journey to learn more about Michael Jeffrey Jordan. I grew up a LeBron fan, started watching basketball in 2010. So Kobe and LeBron were the two people who really got me into the game. I was in middle school having the time of my life, but now as a grown man, I want to become a historian of the game. I want to learn more about Jordan, as most people consider him to be the GOAT. So let's check out this GOAT comparison, see if I agree with it. Y'all told me Danger Productions got the best comparison out there. I will note, this came out 5 years ago, which April 2020, which means this was before LeBron won his bubble ring. So things might be a little skewed. Obviously, this is before he became all-time leading scorer as well, before he won the NBA in the tournament cup. I don't know what you call it. But yeah, dude, let's check this out and see how we feel about it. I'm open-minded, dude. When you're good at something, you'll tell everyone. When you're great at something, they'll tell you. Okay, Walter. Tongue out. You gonna slam it on him? Yeah. Tongue in. Slam it on him? Or just slam it? What a build-up, dude.
I think taxes are
crap?
something that makes all of
What is going on, dude?
minutes.
Nothing has happened yet. And y'all giving me an ad a minute into this? A minute into the intro and I got an ad. The definitive GOAT analysis. I don't think we can have the definitive GOAT analysis until LeBron retires, but I'll hear him out.
Jordan versus LeBron. LeBron versus Jordan. It's a debate that has captured the public's attention for the last several years, especially after this moment in 2016, when LeBron James beat the Golden State Warriors to win the third championship of his career. In LeBron's own words,
that one right there made me the greatest player of all time. That's what I felt.
Reasons.
I was like, that one right there made you the greatest player of all time.
but did it? Is everything since that moment simply icing on LeBron's cake?
I know a lot of people hate that moment and the fact that LeBron said it. I kind of don't hate it. Like, people say LeBron has a weak mentality, but I feel like it takes a strong mentality to be able to say something like that and know people are going to criticize you. You know what I mean?
Or is LeBron destined to finish his career in Michael Jordan's shadow? We've all heard the arguments from LeBron supporters.
He's bigger, he's stronger, he's faster, he's more durable.
And from Jordan supporters.
Michael Jordan was merely 6-0 with 6 MVPs in the finals.
But the GOAT debate
I don't think Nick Wright and Skip Bayless could be our go-tos for the debate. I'm going to be honest.
it isn't as simple as the pundits make it seem. There are a number of factors relevant in determining the greatest basketball player of all time. In fact, I would say there are 5 things that really matter when determining the GOAT of any sport. These criteria are, in no particular order, accomplishments,
Okay.
longevity,
Yeah.
winning,
Yeah.
statistics,
Makes sense to me.
and what we'll refer to in this video as the eye test.
Okay. I like that.
And to be the GOAT, you don't need to be the best in any specific category, but you need to be pretty good across the board. So simply winning 7 championships, like Robert Horry did, isn't enough to get you into the conversation.
The GOAT! Dang
When
it.
we're finished with this video, it'll be plainly obvious that one guy comes out on top. But before we get started, I want to clarify that this is not a comparison of legacies. It's about who was the better basketball player. If we were talking about legacies, Jordan's is nearly untouchable. Not only did he lead basketball to global popularity, he helped transform Nike into an empire,
Yeah.
changed the way players played and how they dressed, and he even made it cool for guys to be bald. And while those things certainly contribute to MJ's iconic status, they don't make him a better player on the court.
I agree with that.
So let's evaluate the criteria that matter, and we'll start with individual accomplishments. Take a look. Jordan had more regular season MVPs,
I would argue both of them deserve 10.
twice as many finals MVPs,
Bron got 4
9
now.
more scoring titles,
Okay, scoring titles. I don't like that argument as much because it feels nitpicky to me.
and several more selections to the NBA's all-defensive team,
Okay.
including once being named Defensive Player of the Year.
Fair.
LeBron has more All-Star appearances, but that's largely due to his having played more seasons.
Okay, this graphic, okay, picking out scoring titles to me doesn't feel fair because LeBron has an assist title. So why not add the assist title in there as well to show, hey, Bron is multi-dimensional, not just a scorer, but he can pass, rebound, steal, all that kind of stuff. It feels a little lopsided. Also, with all defense, y'all tell me if I'm crazy, but isn't this a positional award before 2023? Like, Jordan was competing with other guards to get the all-defensive nod. LeBron was competing with other forwards to get the all-defensive nod. And just in general, there were better forward defenders than guard defenders. I could be wrong about that, but still, 9 all-defense for Jordan is unreal. I'm going to give him his flowers for that. But these stats right here feel a little nitpicky. And as we mentioned, LeBron has another Finals MVP in there, which is still less. Just throwing that out there.
In fact, when taking into account retirements and major injuries, Jordan essentially played 13 seasons compared to 17 seasons for LeBron, making Jordan's significant lead in accomplishments all the more impressive.
That's fair.
And that's to say nothing of MJ's brilliant college career, which saw him twice named All-American and once awarded College Player of the Year, at a time when the country's best players actually went to college.
True.
So regardless
That's
of
fair,
whether
dude.
you're a LeBron fan or MJ fan, you have to give the accomplishments checkmark to Jordan.
I will, because he has more championships, more finals MVPs, more regular season MVPs. But I'm not a big fan of the scoring title debate because he shot the most, so of course, and he was very efficient. He earned it. Don't get me wrong, he earned it. I just don't think scoring titles needs to be in this debate when LeBron has an assist title in there as well. Jordan has some steals titles in there as well. I don't get why we're nitpicking that specific aspect. But Jordan is the accomplishment GOAT.
The second criteria in
Can't
our GOAT
argue.
analysis is longevity.
Okay?
And this one is also a no-brainer, but this time in favor of LeBron.
And I want y'all to know, the reason I'm defending LeBron on that category is because Jordan was the clear winner. If I see LeBron as the clear winner in one of these categories, I'm going to defend LeBron. So don't think I'm just riding for Bron this whole time. I'm definitely open-minded and want to learn.
Not only has LeBron played more seasons in the league, but he's had a longer peak than Jordan. Jordan's peak lasted about 10 years, whereas LeBron's peak has lasted 16 years and is still going. And he's been incredibly durable during that time, missing significant time to injury only in 2019. That said, the claim that LeBron has been much more durable than Michael has been a bit overblown.
Agreed.
Consider that Jordan played in at least 80 regular season games 11 times in his career,
Yeah.
including all 82 games an incredible 9 times. Compare that to LeBron, who played in at least 80 regular season games just twice, and in all 82 games just once. So both LeBron and Jordan get high marks for their durability. But durability aside, the bottom line is that LeBron has sustained his level of excellence for a much longer period of time than Jordan, which puts the longevity checkmark squarely in LeBron's corner.
I think that's fair, but also I think Jordan could have been just as longevity-ish if he didn't retire 3 times. You know what I'm saying? The first retirement was because his dad passed away. He lost his love for the game. His dad wanted him to play baseball. Like, he lost 2 years because of that. Then the Bulls drama, and he retired after the Bulls stint, and then he came back because he still loved the game. I think longevity makes sense. Like, it's a good category to have in here, but I just don't feel. I feel like Jordan could have had it had he just not retired and played up to 23 seasons like LeBron is now.
Take control of your ride by customizing your safety
I could have just talked during this Uber commercial. Jeesh. But y'all know what I mean? Like, Jordan, he only missed like that 1 season because of his foot when he was like in year 2, and that's it.
44.
That's it.
That brings us to the third GOAT criteria, winning.
Win, win,
As we
win,
all
win.
know, Jordan won 6 championships.
Yeah.
LeBron has won 3.
4,
Jordan is 6-0 in the NBA Finals. LeBron is 3-6.
4 and 6.
Yes, LeBron has made the finals 9 times compared to only 6 times for Jordan, but let's not pretend that making the finals is the same thing, or even close to the same thing, as winning a title.
Correct.
Take a prime example from another sport, the Buffalo Bills. They're the only team in NFL history to appear in 4 consecutive Super Bowls. But is there a single player or fan of that team that wouldn't trade all 4 of those appearances for just one Super Bowl win?
Yep.
Frankly, talk to any fan whose team lost the season's final game and ask them how they felt afterward. Almost universally, their feelings are of sadness, anger, and disappointment. And that's just the fans. For players, those feelings are only magnified. Listen to Charles Barkley talk about losing in the NBA Finals.
And I was just in shock when it was over because I was frustrated because I couldn't wheel my team past Michael and the Bulls. And first of all, I don't think I've ever gotten over it, number one. But that was traumatic, and it's painful.
So we can all stop.
I've never heard him talk like that. That's intense because he never made another finals. It's got to be hard to that have been your only shot, and it was versus Jordan.
With this false equivalence between winning the championship and finishing runner-up. In the words of Herm Edwards,
you play to win the game. Hello?
Yeah.
You play to win the game.
now back to...
Do people actually think getting to the finals and losing is still an accomplishment? Like, it's good you didn't get eliminated earlier, but I don't know that people really think, like, yeah, Braun made this many finals. Like, to me, it's kind of besides the point. To me, it'd be all the same if he got eliminated in the 3rd round or the 2nd round.
Jordan and LeBron. As mentioned, on basketball's biggest stage, the NBA Finals, Jordan was 6-0. LeBron was 3-6.
4-6.
And frankly, that doesn't even show how lopsided their records really are. In terms of individual finals games, Jordan was 24-11. LeBron is 18-31. And that's because in 4 of his 6 finals losses, LeBron's team hasn't even been competitive.
Yeah.
Twice he got swept, and 2 other times he lost 4-1. That includes being on the wrong side of the 2 most lopsided finals by margin of loss in NBA history.
And again, I would like to see, like, if you put Jordan in LeBron's spot for all of his 10 finals appearances, genuinely curious what his record would have been. Vice versa, LeBron on those Jordan teams, I'm curious what the record would have been. I think that's the only way you can determine the GOAT, but it's impossible, dude. Because I would argue versus those Warrior teams, LeBron did everything he could. I don't know how much more Jordan would have done that would have flipped it, the 17 and 18 Warriors. And then with the Bulls, positions matter, obviously. Like, the team's going to be a little lopsided either way, but I'm curious what would have happened if he flip-flopped them.
Of course, LeBron fans will tell you that the only reason for LeBron's poor finals record is that his competition was so tough. Ironically, some of these same fans criticized Jordan for losing early in his career to a Celtics team stacked with 5 Hall of Famers, and they conveniently gloss over the fact that LeBron reached the finals so many times in part because the competition in his own conference was so weak. During the vast majority of his career, LeBron played in what many dubbed the Leastern Conference because the East was so much weaker than the West. On the other hand, during Jordan's playing days, the East was generally considered the stronger conference, as Jordan had to battle through hard-fought rivalries against the Bad Boy Pistons, Patrick Ewing's Knicks, the Shaq Penny-led Magic, and Reggie Miller's Pacers. That said, if you want to blame LeBron's failure in the finals on the level of his competition, I won't argue with you. But let's also not blow it out of proportion. If you look at the average number of wins of their finals opponents, you'll see that LeBron's finals opponents averaged 60.8 wins per season, whereas Jordan's finals opponents averaged 61.2 wins per season. So as it turns out, both players face stiff competition in the finals. But a big reason we don't hold the 93 Suns, the 96 Sonics, or the 98 Jazz in the same regard as some of LeBron's finals opponents is because, unlike LeBron's adversaries, Jordan's opponents never actually won the Larry O'Brien Trophy. Which goes to my original point, that the difference between winning the title and finishing runner-up is huge. And the reason those teams never won the title? This guy. Look, I'm not trying to say that Jordan's opponents were as good as the Warriors teams that LeBron faced 4 times in the finals. The truth is that Jordan never played a juggernaut quite like that. But there's a pretty good reason for that. Jordan's Bulls were the juggernaut. They were the team winning 70-plus games. They were the team with the target on their back every year. And as the Warriors showed us, that's not an easy place to be. As great as the Warriors were, they
True.
were never able to string together 3 consecutive championships.
It's true.
Jordan's Bulls did it twice. So what's the greater achievement? Beating the Juggernaut or being the Juggernaut?
Ooh, good question. Being or beating? I think being the Juggernaut shows a level of dominance throughout a season and throughout for them, an 8-year window outside of his retirement. Or beating the Juggernaut, I think beating the 2016 when LeBron beat the Warriors, that's his greatest accomplishment. I could see the argument either way. Dang, what do y'all think in the comments? I'm kind of torn on that one.
Or to be more specific, beating the Juggernaut 1 time out of the 4 times you faced them? Or being the Juggernaut year after year after year? And then doing it again, year after year after year.
Fair.
There's no doubt that LeBron's victory over the 73-win Warriors was the highlight of his career. But it's not the first time that an underdog has won the championship, and there actually have been much bigger underdogs who ended up winning the title. But how many times have we seen a player lead his team to 6 championships in 8 years? Prior to Jordan's Bulls, only Bill Russell's Celtics ever accomplished that feat in the NBA, when they incredibly won 11 championships in 13 seasons. However, back then, there was an average of less than 10 teams in the league, and only a couple rounds of playoffs, so it was considerably easier to win a title. And no player, not even Bill Russell, ever had a run of winning 25 of 26 playoff series, as Michael Jordan did. And Michael's pattern of winning goes beyond the NBA. Let's not forget that Jordan has never won anything but gold in the Olympics, and he also earned an NCAA championship, in which he hit the first of 2 iconic championship-winning shots in his career. All that is to say, when it comes to winning,
I think that him saying he won nothing but gold is a shot at LeBron because he was on that 2004 Olympic team where he played like no minutes. Don't do that.
the checkmark clearly goes to Jordan.
I agree that it goes to Jordan here, but I also think, as he mentioned, those 4 Warrior teams were better than any of the opponents Jordan faced. I would argue the San Antonio 13, 14, 07 might even be better because 07, the Spurs won. They won in 03, 07, 05. That was separate of LeBron and Jordan. That was between LeBron and Jordan's finals primes. So losing to the Spurs twice, who are a really, like, that would be like if Jordan beat the Utah Jazz when the Utah Jazz were the team that won in 94 and 95 when he wasn't playing. You know what I'm saying? And so I agree. 2011, not a good look for LeBron. 2012, he won. 2013, he beat the Spurs, who had previously beat him in 07. Then they lost to the Spurs. Then the 4 Warrior things happened. I'm going to argue that Jordan is the better winner because he won the most championships. But I would also, and his regular seasons were better. Like, his team had a better record, and he was the juggernaut to beat. But I would also argue, if you put Jordan on LeBron's teams for these finals runs, I don't think he would have been perfect. I don't think he would have been the perfect winner he was in the 90s. And it's all circumstance. You know what I'm saying? So, it's a good debate. What's more impressive, to be the juggernaut or beat the juggernaut? Be it or beat it? But yeah, I give Jordan the flowers here. Again, I'm defending LeBron right now because I could tell that this category was going to go to Jordan. As I said, I gave Jordan his flowers for the longevity one. Why does this keep happening after I go on a little monologue? I should just be talking during the ads because I don't know how to edit. Y'all, please don't think that I'm just riding LeBron. I genuinely want to be open-minded, okay?
On to
I will say, this person making the video does seem biased toward Jordan.
the 4th GOAT criteria, statistics. This one is a bit more complicated. I mean, how do you statistically evaluate 2 players who played in different eras under different rules at different positions?
True.
One way of doing it is to simply look at the 8 traditional statistics of basketball. Points, assists, rebounds, steals, blocks, field goal percentage, free throw percentage, and turnovers.
Fair enough.
And we'll focus on per game stats rather than cumulative stats, since cumulative stats such as total career points and total career assists really speak to longevity, which is already its own category of the GOAT analysis.
Okay.
Per game stats, on the other hand, is more of an apples to apples comparison. So looking at the 8 traditional stats, we see that Jordan leads LeBron in 5 of them: points per game, steals per game, blocks per game, free throw percentage, and fewer turnovers. LeBron leads in the other 3: assists per game, rebounds per game, and field goal percentage. But that's a pretty simplistic way of looking at statistics.
Yeah.
What if we instead turn to analytics?
Oh.
Probably the most well-known analytic stat is player efficiency rating, or PER for short.
Give it to me.
This metric was created by respected basketball analyst John Hollinger to give an overall rating to a player's performance based on traditional stats like the ones we just mentioned. Jordan has led the league in PER 7 times, LeBron 6 times.
Do y'all know what it is now, 5 years later? Is it still just 7 to 6? It might be, because LeBron's old now.
Jordan has finished top 3 in PER 10 times, LeBron 9 times. In fact, Jordan has the highest career PER in both the regular season and the playoffs. Another popular analytics stat is win shares. Jordan has led the league in win shares 8 times, LeBron 5 times. Jordan has finished top 3 in win shares 11 times, LeBron 6 times. And when it comes to win shares per 48 minutes, Jordan has the highest career rating in both the regular season and the playoffs. What about box plus minus? Until recently, LeBron was actually ahead of Jordan in career box plus minus. But after the 2017 season gave Russell Westbrook the greatest single-season box plus minus in history by a wide margin, the architect of box plus minus realized that the stat was fundamentally flawed. So he made some changes to improve its formula. As a result, Michael Jordan now has the highest career box plus minus in both the regular season and the playoffs. And lastly, what about value over replacement player, which on its face seems to favor LeBron James? Well, value over replacement player is a cumulative stat, and as previously noted, cumulative stats speak more to longevity than they do game-to-game dominance. That said, according to value over replacement player, Jordan owns 6 of the 9 greatest individual seasons ever played. And on a per-game basis, MJ's career rating in value over replacement player is the highest of all time in both the regular season and the playoffs. Are you noticing a theme here? Not only does Jordan beat LeBron in every ratable analytics stat, he consistently ranks as the best ever across the board. Before we move on from analytics, I want to mention a lesser-known stat called game score, another brainchild of John Hollinger.
I'm not gonna lie, a lot of these analytic things go over my head, so I'm cool giving Jordan this one. It seems like he has the advantage on pretty much everything, but I don't know what most of it means.
Game score measures a player's performance in a single game, so it won't tell us who's had the better career, but it does provide insight into who's had the greatest games. Now, we only have game score stats since 1983, so you won't see any mentions of Wilt Chamberlain here. That said, of the 100 highest game scores ever recorded, incredibly 19 of them belong to Michael Jordan. In other words, nearly 1 out of every 5 of the best single-game performances over the last 4 decades has been by MJ.
Wow.
That includes the highest game score of all time for Jordan's 69.18 rebound masterpiece.
Wow.
Comparatively, LeBron has had only 3 of the top 100 game scores. When
Surprising.
discussing the GOAT, Nick Wright is fond of asking this question.
The aliens come down. You have 1 game to save humanity. Who's your first pick in the history of the world?
Michael.
Well, Nick, I think we have our answer.
I think it would be Michael.
Now that I've finished drowning you in numbers, let's be real. Hardly anyone watching this video knows how to calculate PER, win shares, box plus minus, value over replacement player, or game score.
Yeah.
And why should you? This is basketball, not Goodwill Hunting. So let's go back to the traditional stats that we all know and understand. But this time, let's add context to them.
Okay.
What do I mean by context? Well, some positions are simply better than others at racking up certain stats.
Yeah.
Let's take rebounding as an example. In a vacuum, if we simply compare the number of rebounds per game of Brook Lopez and Jason Kidd, we might think that Lopez was the better rebounder.
No.
The truth is, relative to their positions, Lopez is statistically one of the worst rebounding centers in NBA history, whereas Kidd is statistically one of the best rebounding guards in NBA history.
Okay, that's cool.
But even a poor rebounding center can grab more rebounds than a great rebounding guard solely by virtue of their roles on the court. So it makes sense that, to understand the context of a player's stats, we should compare them to the respective positions that they played. When comparing LeBron James to the other small forwards who have played at least 500 NBA games, this is where he ranks. Overall, that's pretty impressive. Now let's see how Jordan compares to all shooting guards who have played at least 500 NBA games. As good as LeBron is compared to other small forwards, Jordan is on another level when compared to other shooting guards. He's
This is really interesting.
darn near the top of every major statistical category, and there isn't a single category where LeBron is better than MJ relative to his position, other than assists. So to sum up statistics, whether comparing traditional stats or analytics, and especially when judging these players in the context of the positions they played, Jordan has a noticeable edge over LeBron.
Give Jordan
As
the
such,
statistic
we
crown.
have to give the check mark to Jordan.
That's 3-1, man. Ah!
Frustrated with the way you currently file your tax?
Yeah, I'm frustrated with you, woman.
And that takes us to the last category in our GOAT analysis, the eye test.
So Jordan's up 3-1. This wouldn't be the first time Bron came back from a 3-1 deficit, but because we are on the final one, seems like Jordan's the GOAT.
And to be clear, by eye test, I don't mean which of these players is bigger, faster, or jumps higher. None of that is relevant unless we're having a track and field competition. And frankly, if physical measurables mattered, then George Murasan would be in the GOAT conversation.
That's my GOAT.
No, what I mean by the eye test is, if you sat an average basketball fan in front of a TV to watch a player in action, what would he notice that the player is and is not great at? Thankfully, I happen to be an average basketball fan, and I've had the privilege of watching both LeBron and Jordan during their playing days.
Really?
So unlike a lot of my fellow YouTubers, I haven't merely relied on highlight videos.
True.
Here's what my eyes told me when I saw Michael Jordan play, particularly during his playing days with the Chicago Bulls. He was the best offensive player in the game. He was arguably the best defensive player in the game. He had the best mid-range game. He was the best finisher at the rim. He had the best post-up game, which is incredible considering most players who dominated the post were big men.
True.
He was widely considered the most clutch player in the game. He was regarded by opponents as the fiercest competitor on the court. He was regarded by teammates as the hardest worker in practice. And when all was said and done, amongst the other stars of his generation, he was the greatest winner. Now, when you're playing against the elite athletes of the world, to be the best at any one of those things is pretty remarkable. But to be the best at all of them?
Yeah.
I tell you, it's impossible. But for the fact that we saw Michael Jordan do it.
True.
And when it comes to the GOAT debate, that's the biggest hurdle facing LeBron. He's basically being compared to a guy who was great at everything and practically had no weaknesses.
True.
Seriously, judging by the eye test, what's the worst thing we could say about Michael Jordan's game? Probably that he wasn't a very good three-point shooter. Jordan shot 33% from beyond the arc in an era when the average player also shot 33%. So when it came to three-point shooting, he wasn't good, he wasn't bad, he was just average.
Yeah.
But remember that Michael played in an age when the three-point shot wasn't a big part of the game. During Jordan's years, teams averaged only 9.5 three-point attempts per game, and Michael himself attempted less than 2 threes per game. And if being an average three-point shooter is a weakness of Michael's game, well, then we also have to call it a weakness of LeBron's game.
Fair.
The difference is that LeBron plays in an era where the three-point shot is a huge part of the game.
Agree and disagree. LeBron started in 03. It didn't become massive, I feel like, until halfway through his career. So for the first half, he didn't really prioritize the shot. Later in his career, he's had more career, like higher averages than the average. But I agree, it's still definitely not like a strength of LeBron's, but I wouldn't call it a weakness. I would say he's around average.
During the years in which LeBron played, teams attempted on average over 21 threes per game, and LeBron himself averaged 4.3 three-point attempts per game, or 2.5 times as many as Jordan. Despite the increased emphasis on threes, LeBron's career shooting percentage from beyond the arc is only a hair better than Jordan, at 34%. And it's actually slightly below his peers, who averaged 35% from three during his era.
Real quick, I just wanted to touch on the weakness part. He said, what are Michael Jordan's weaknesses? He mentioned average three-point shooter. I would also throw in there, just on the other videos I've watched, he had weaknesses when he was younger that he grew out of as he matured in the game. So trusting his teammates more. It seems like when he was younger, he didn't trust them as much, which is why he didn't win as much. And then later on in his career with those championship Bulls teams, like he would pass to Kerr, he would pass to Paxton, and trust them with the final shot versus him taking it every time. So I think he grew to become a better leader. However, I think there were still some flaws in there. Like, he did punch Steve Kerr, and I think sometimes his love and passion for the game led to him not being the best leader possible. But I think when you win so much, it kind of overshadows that. That's the only thing I could really nitpick. And maybe before he beat the Pistons with the Jordan rules and everything, I think he might have not been as strong as he needed to be. But he overcame that by becoming stronger. So I would say early in his career was like being more of a trusting teammate, and then being a little weaker in his build. Those were his weaknesses that he overcame. So honestly, yeah, Jordan doesn't have many weaknesses. For LeBron, I would say he's not a very good free throw shooter. I would argue, like in 2007, the Spurs just let LeBron shoot from far away because his jump shot was not nearly what it was later in his career. So that was definitely a weakness that he has grown and gotten better at. He even shot over 40% from three, I think 2 seasons later in his career. So that's improvement there as well. Other weaknesses outside of free throw shootings for Bron. I'm really trying to think right now, because I think both guys are great. Bron maybe turns the ball over a little too much. He is a good passer, but when you compare his assist to turnover ratio compared to like some of the greatest point guards, it is not as good as you would hope for him. Offensive rebounding, I don't think Bron's ever really been good at that. I think he should have put more emphasis on that. And then I think defense has become more of a weakness in his career as he's gotten older. I think when he was younger, before the second, like from first Cleveland stint in Miami, he was a great defender, and I think it's gone downhill since then. He can still pick and choose when, but I think that's tougher to compare with Jordan because Jordan retired younger than LeBron did. So we didn't see him as much. I guess I'd have to look at those Wizards days, but that's what's coming to top of mind as well right now. Obviously, as well, in some big moments, LeBron fell short, like in the Dallas Mavericks, so that's definitely a weakness, but it's something I think he grew out of after that series. He's never really fallen short like that since the 2011.
But to reiterate, being an average three-point shooter was by far the worst part of MJ's game. For LeBron, it's not even close. LeBron, in fact, has 4 major weaknesses as a basketball player,
what do you think?
each of which is readily apparent to anyone who has actually watched him play. First, he's not a good free throw shooter.
Okay, I got that one.
For his career, LeBron has shot around 73.5% from the free throw line, which is pretty poor for a player who handles the ball as much as he does. In fact, many analysts point out that at the end of games, LeBron shies away from driving to the basket because he's afraid of being sent to the line. I don't know whether that's true, but what I do know is that the odds of LeBron hitting 2 consecutive free throws is statistically not much better than a coin flip. Jordan, on the other hand, shot a solid 83.5% from the free throw line during his career, and MJ never shied away from contact at the end of games.
Yeah.
LeBron's second weakness is that he's an inconsistent defender. Sure, he's had some years where he was elite defensively, which is evidenced by his numerous selections to the NBA's All-Defensive.
I just think as he's gotten older, he's just not done as much because he knows he needs to wait for the playoffs. Don't tell me he's not a good defender come playoff time.
Team. But he's also had several years where he's practically been a liability on the defensive end.
In the regular season, I don't agree with this argument.
Compare that to MJ, who during his Bulls days was a consistently elite defender. In fact, Jordan is the only player to rank in the top 5 amongst all guards in both steals per game and blocks per game for his career.
All Uber drivers pass a background check.
Why do they keep doing this to me, man? I don't know how to edit.
Additionally, Michael led his position in defensive win shares practically every year that he played for the Bulls, an incredible 10 times. LeBron, comparatively, has led his position in defensive win shares on just 4 occasions, and in 5 of his last 7 seasons, he didn't even crack the top 10 at his position in defensive win shares. Now, some will excuse LeBron's recent fall-off on the defensive end as a byproduct of his resting on defense so that he can have more energy on offense. And we can debate the merits of that strategy, but resting on defense is not something Michael Jordan was ever accused of doing.
Fair.
Heck, even as a 40-year-old, he was busting his tail on the defensive end.
Boom.
But what about the notion that LeBron's been the more versatile defender? LeBron supporters will argue that he can guard positions 1 through 5 on the court, such as when he guarded Derrick Rose for stretches in the 2011 playoffs. But LeBron's guarding the opposing team's point guard or center isn't something that happens very often. In fact, during his career, LeBron has spent less than 5% of his total minutes guarding the opposing player's 1 or 5. So the versatility argument is highly exaggerated.
Fair.
And look, when it comes to versatility, Hometown Buffet may have a more versatile menu than Spago. That doesn't make it a better restaurant. LeBron's third weakness is that he's not a very good shooter. And this is a pretty significant flaw for someone claiming to be the GOAT. I mean, shooting the ball is the quintessential skill in the game of basketball.
What's happening?
It's the part of the game that everyone practices. The ball is that LeBron is
What's
a better
happening?
YMCA
What's
or
happening
in
in
the
the
NBA.
footage?
Now, some people will contend that LeBron is actually a better shooter than Jordan because he has a better career field goal percentage. And yes, LeBron's career field goal percentage is 50.4% compared to Jordan's 49.7%. But recall what I said about placing stats into proper context. To help us understand context when it comes to shooting, allow me to introduce DeAndre Jordan and Tyson Chandler. We all know that DeAndre and Tyson were great rebounders and defenders. But what if I told you that they were also two of the greatest shooters of all time? That would be certifiably crazy. Yet if you look at all the shooting metrics, field goal percentage, effective field goal percentage, true shooting percentage,
They're the GOATs!
both of these guys rank near the top in NBA history. Of course, there's an obvious reason for that. As we all know, both DeAndre Jordan and Tyson Chandler take a lot of their shot attempts on dunks, layups, and putbacks, which are extremely high percentage shots. Well, guess what? So does LeBron James. In fact, every single year of his career, the shot that LeBron James has taken the most has been within 0 to 3 feet from the basket. In other words, dunks, layups, and putbacks. More than 1 of every 3 of LeBron's shots has been within this point-blank range, which is aided by his playing in an era where it's been relatively easy to get to the rim, particularly when compared to the physical era in which Jordan played. And just like every other player, LeBron is really effective from 0 to 3 feet, hitting over 73% of these shots. But how does LeBron fare from outside this range? According to basketballreference.com, LeBron's shooting percentage from outside 3 feet is 37.5%.
Yikes.
It's even poorer in the playoffs where he shoots 35.9%. And it gets even worse in close and late situations.
Show me Jordan.
In the last 2 minutes of games where the score is within 5 points, LeBron hits only 31.7% of his jumpers.
Here's the thing. I get this, and I think it's a good argument for the GOAT debate, but also so much of LeBron's strengths are getting to the basket, and he's one of the best at getting to the basket. So just removing this feels a little nitpicky. Jordan is the better shooter, better mid-range shooter. I don't disagree with that. Outside of 3 feet, Jordan is better, but it feels a little nitpicky to do this. You know what I mean? Because LeBron's game is more predicated on I'm more physically dominant, stronger than anyone else.
Look, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that these numbers aren't very good, which is probably why in the 2013 finals, the Spurs' defensive strategy against the Heat was to basically dare LeBron James to shoot. And keep in mind, this was against LeBron in his prime. Can you imagine an opposing coach using a similar strategy against MJ? Now, LeBron actually credits the Spurs for forcing him to work on his jump shot, but it's not as if his results have gotten much better since then.
But they have.
Here's LeBron's shooting percentage from outside 3 feet over the last 6 years. Yikes. Well, I'll give him this, he is consistent. For comparison, consider that in the last year.
Okay, am I crazy, or did this guy feel like a LeBron hater a little bit? I don't know. I don't want to say hater, but I don't know.
Of Michael Jordan's
he feels biased to me.
Career as an aging player on the Washington Wizards, Jordan shot close to 42% from outside 3 feet.
It's good, man. It's
While that's
impressive.
certainly not great, it means that even as a 40-year-old shell of his former self, Jordan was still a better shooter, a far better shooter than LeBron James. Unfortunately, Basketball Reference doesn't have advanced shooting metrics from Michael's Bulls days
Darn
when
it.
he was a significantly more efficient scorer, but few would argue that Michael was anything but a lethal jump shooter when he was wearing red and black. When it comes to shooting, all of us can recall practicing shots on the blacktop, counting down 3, 2, 1 before launching a shot at the rim.
Yeah.
Well, if you were pretending to be LeBron James, you'd brick almost 2/3 of the time.
Come on, dude.
Actually, that's not entirely true. If you were playing against a countdown, it would be much, much worse.
Imagine being
This is
able to build anything.
it started off feeling like he was pretty impartial. It doesn't feel like that anymore.
Complete AI create.
And that gets me to the last major weakness of LeBron's game, his performance, or more accurately, lack of performance, in the clutch. Remember when people were praising LeBron for making a couple of buzzer beaters in the playoffs 2 years ago? They used these stats to claim that LeBron was better in the clutch than Jordan. But look at these numbers carefully. What stands out to you? How about this? People were using a sample size of less than one shot per season to make the case that LeBron was more clutch than Jordan. That would be the equivalent of polling just 100 people in the country to try to predict the winner of the next presidential election. So let's use more telling stats, shall we? Here's a situation that's often used to determine a player's clutchness. 5 seconds to go in the fourth quarter or overtime, and your team needs a bucket to either win or tie the game. It answers the age-old question, who do you want taking the last shot with the game on the line? It turns out that in the regular season and playoffs combined, LeBron has taken 94 such shots.
Okay.
That's a pretty good sample size. And how many of those 94 shots has LeBron made?
94!
19.
Oh.
For a shooting percentage of 20%. Let me repeat that. 20%. Guys, that's not bad in the clutch. That's atrocious. Michael Jordan in the same situation shot roughly 50%. Yes, that's right. Jordan's performance under pressure was the same as it was throughout the rest of the game. And that, my friends, is the definition of clutch.
Does he have the numbers though?
So there you go. When it comes
How many did he make out of how many did he try though? How many?
to the eye test, our eyes tell us that one player, Michael Jordan, is great at everything and has practically no weaknesses. And the other player, LeBron James, while also having a ton of strengths, has several obvious flaws to his game. And when all is said and done, after analyzing the 5 key factors of being the GOAT, Jordan gets 4 check marks to LeBron's 1, making this GOAT debate, well, not much of a debate at all. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that LeBron James is a bad player. He's a phenomenal player. Personally, I have him on basketball's Mount Rushmore, along with Jordan, Kareem, Wilt Chamberlain, and Bill Russell. He's just not Michael Jordan. And just to underscore how good MJ was, let's ignore LeBron and Jordan for a minute and focus on the other 3 players highlighted here, Kareem, Wilt, and Bill Russell. Most would agree that these are the 3 greatest centers in NBA history, and each of them has a strong case to justify his standing among basketball royalty. Wilt is an all-time great because he was an offensive force of nature, and he holds a ton of NBA records. Russell is in the conversation because he was a dominant defender and a perennial champion. Kareem also led his team to numerous titles, and in terms of individual awards and accolades, was the most decorated of the 3. Not to mention, he had the NBA's most unguardable shot. Now imagine a center that had all the best qualities from these 3 titans.
It's Michael Jordan.
A player like that would be the basketball equivalent of Thanos. Now add to that player the highest level of intangible attributes, such as a tireless work ethic, unmatched killer instinct, and an ability to deliver in the clutch. And now you'd essentially be looking at Thanos with all of the Infinity Stones, and no one would question whether this player was the greatest of all time.
Jordan.
But the truth is, we don't have to imagine
It's
such a
Jordan,
player.
we get it!
That player already existed.
I'm a salty
He just
LeBron
happened to
fan,
be a shooting
okay?
guard, not a center. When you think about it, Michael Jordan is the real-life version of an overpowered video game character.
Fair.
He had all the qualities we look for in a superstar athlete.
Fair.
And he had it in spades. He's basically Babe Ruth, if Babe Ruth played defense like Willie Mays. And that's why, even in comparison to the other all-time greats, he is truly in a class of his own. Simply put, he's the GOAT.
I agree, man. I said this in my last video. I think Jordan is the GOAT. I don't know why it became such a big narrative discussion. I kind of wish we could have all just said Jordan's the GOAT. Let's appreciate LeBron and what he can do instead of just nitpicking what he can't do. I do think a lot of this video outlined Jordan's strengths and lack of weaknesses. I think a little too much of it focused on LeBron's weaknesses and didn't focus too much on the strengths that he does deliver. Hardly talked about how he's one of the most dominant, athletic, take care of your body, availability is the best ability kind of player. Regardless of the fact that he's 50% field goal for his career, he found a way to diminish that by talking outside of 3 feet. So, I don't know. Some of it felt a little nitpicky. I am seeing that this person 10 months ago said he should make an updated version, and he said he'll do it. So, I am excited to check out what the new one's going to be. But I'll say it, man. I think Jordan's the GOAT. I just wish that we could let that conversation die and just let other players do what they do. LeBron is not Michael. If you don't have him as the GOAT, I think that's fine, dude. I think Jordan has proved it. I think he's done a great job with it. I think this video is a little biased, but all in all, to me, the best part of this, and someone commented, what's more impressive, being the juggernaut or beating the juggernaut? I'm curious what y'all think down in the comments below. I'm a salty LeBron fan, so I'm going to go do some more research. Some of those stats, like the clutch stuff, didn't seem correct to me. Like, he was only 20%. Or some of that, like, outside of the 3 feet thing didn't feel correct to me. So, this is just by eye test, by the way. So, I'm going to go do some more of my research. I'm going to learn more. As I said, I want to be teachable in this. I admit, Jordan is the GOAT, man. There's so many reasons why he is, and I'm not going to argue with it. I just wish we could appreciate what Bron has done and not have every one of his accomplishments be, but is he the GOAT? I don't think that matters. I really don't. He's, to me, the best player of his generation, and I don't think it comes close. I think it's LeBron from 2003 to now. I think Kobe is second place to that, and some people might argue Kobe was better, so there's a bit of a debate there. I would pick Bron. So anyway, I think LeBron's done a good job in carrying the torch after Jordan. Some people say that he ruined the game. I disagree. As someone who loves the game because of him, I will never say that. But y'all, let me know your thoughts on this. I'm excited to see Danger Productions do another one of these. I think it could be very exciting. He only has 30,000 subs. He should definitely have more. But, oh, he only has 2 videos? Dang. This guy dropped one of the craziest videos. Y'all recommended this like crazy. Has 5 million views, and he never dropped again? Dude, you could have made a whole career out of this. You could have been like Kenny Beecham. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, I hope he drops another one, unless this might be the updated one. Okay. Well, let's look, man. Let me know what y'all think about the video. Let me know if you think anything in it felt biased or like it was nitpicky. I thought it was a little bit, but at the end of the day, I do think LeBron has more weaknesses, and I do think that there are more people wanting to make excuses for some of his moments that he has fallen short. I think some of them are valid. I think context is important, but you can't do that with Jordan. He doesn't really, like, there's nothing you can really make excuses for in his career, and I think that speaks for itself. So Jordan is the GOAT. Coming from a LeBron fan, I got Bron number 2. If you want to debate me on who's number 2, I think that would be more of an exciting debate, because I think Jordan's on a pedestal on his own. But anyways, thanks everybody for watching. Hope you have a great day or night or whatever time of day it is for you. I'm going to go cry in a corner. I'll catch you guys later. Doses!